Back, everyone, players and audience alike. Hope you had a fun break. Had a little bit of investigation and mystery solving. Did a little experiment on the, I guess, the nature of magic once more, at least in a wild magic zone. And off we go to Greenshield. We're on the road again.
Yes. While we're on the road, I just want to pull Brad aside for just a quick second.
Sure.
Not too far. Um, I just and I just kind of look at her and say, I want to apologize and say thank you for just being there for me last night.
I don't have anything to apologize for. I mean, you didn't do anything bad. At least not that you don't have to do. I'm understanding of that. And I don't like to go and do hunting and things, but
Mm,
I know that has to happen so that you can live. So, I mean, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. But sometimes you do things that you don't want to do. Sometimes you have to put other people ahead of yourself. So I'm happy to do that for you. And you don't have anything to apologize for. You're just you can't change that.
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, one would hope, right?
Hmm.
You know.
Still, I'm still hoping you know that, right?
Yeah, and I want to keep that promise to you,
You and
and I just appreciate it.
I,
That's really all I wanted to say.
okay. Well, thank you. And I mean, I know that you're still kind of bummed about Tezre, and
Mm,
I know that most of the rest of the party doesn't. I mean, you were certainly closer to him than the rest of us, and it's kind of funny because you didn't know him for as long as the rest of us. But he, I
he
know
was
that
entertaining.
obviously, yeah.
Kind of looked up to the
But
fact that
obviously,
he
you for
had a very light expression about life.
yeah. I just I think that there's a lesson somehow in what happened to him and how it's different from what happened to you and we just have to make sure that we keep the right lesson from that.
Mm, for sure.
I wish I knew for sure what it was, but
Right. Wish I kind of knew why. Just kind of wish that I knew what was going on with me and why I'm different. You know, that it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But yeah, you're good friends.
I mean, I know part of why you're different is that you just I mean, you don't hurt people anymore. I mean, you just you do everything you can to stay who you were. And I mean, I think Tezri didn't I mean, he kind of tried, especially after he met up with us again, but he was starting at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
And you have advantages that he didn't, and that's probably why.
yeah, that's for sure. But I
Only,
choose to remember him for the good things. You know.
I mean, sometimes we only missed him by a couple of hours,
Mm,
and sometimes that can make all the difference.
it's true.
Okay, that's
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm weird. I'm awkward. I'm just going to walk away now.
okay. Well, I'll be here. I mean,
Okay.
we're all going together, so we can't walk too far away. But
I
you can go over there.
know.
You can take this unicorn with you
In,
if you need it.
in this mood, and I guess this is something that we haven't necessarily explored with either of our tieflings, but especially as Mordecai is, um, in this state or this mood right now. What does your tail do?
It's swishing back and forth, just kind of absently, not really controlled hardly at all.
So you're you're dragging it, or sort of like bare minimum, just sort of like the point, like the end is just sort of curled up a bit, or
No, it's twitching back and forth like nervousness.
okay, okay, all right, because that's a fun little bonus that for tieflings they don't have pupils, And so you're like, well, you know, that's reading them can be. You could argue it's difficult because you can't really see their eyes that well, depending on how you illustrate them. Obviously, tieflings can be different, but you can make up for that with the tail language as part of the body language. And so when you look at other animals that have tails and how expressive it can be, is it wrapped around your leg, or are you like actually kind of holding it and fidgeting with it, kind of like just like clenching your hands or something. You're using your tail as like a fidget cube or something. Okay.
It kind of just swishes back and forth.
Okay. Actually, and you know what? While we're here, Norlai, what is your tail doing right now?
Are we just walking along?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not under attack, but you've experienced something. And this is a good way for me as the DM, but also for you to explore your character while we're having this walk along. How are you carrying your tail right now?
Oh, good question.
Is it droopy? You dragging it behind you? Is it also fidgeting?
I don't think it'd be fidget, because, like, she doesn't think anything happened. She's not feeling any different than normal. She might be a little confused, but nothing really that would be.
Okay. Okay.
I'd actually like to talk to Norlai for a minute while we're on the way.
Sure. All right. So, Bright kind of drops to a lower gear and is sort of like, boo, goes back in the party to Norlai, who's walking along with Brayson and Mordecluck and Herbert, the plant.
And Yori?
Oh, and Yori's kind of, flitting along too.
And he's not walking, but Fenrir's here too.
Well, yes, and the statue is in statue form.
Okay, so I have to stay kind of away from Herbert a little bit, but so I wanted to say that I know that what we did there must have been scary for you, and I appreciate that you were brave about going through it. It must have been hard.
Well, yeah, I was really nervous, but then like nothing really happened, so I don't know. Kind of weird.
You didn't know nothing was going to happen. It could have been anything. There could have been a monster in there, or there could have been like a different version of you. That was kind of my working theory. Or there could have been
weird.
Super weird, but weird is part of the job for us. Or there could have been like fairies, or like some sort of magical spell contained in it, or all kinds of things that could have happened, and none of them did. So, but we didn't know that. So I appreciate how brave you were, because I know that usually you're really afraid of things, and this time you weren't as afraid. And I think that's really good news.
Yeah, you're right. Easily. Well, we were not too far into the wild magic, so I was like, okay, it might be alright. I did get the bubbles, though they were more sparkly this time.
The sparkly bubbles. I think you should get those more often.
I used to get a lot, but yeah, I got them so much that like I just learned to use magic without talking, because it got annoying still.
That sounds fun. Although I don't know how to do that, and I don't know that I'd want to, because like saying the magic words is most of the fun of the magic, right? You get to.
Oh no, it's fun. It's just when you can't do it.
Rub our hymnal germination. The bunny. And then it goes away again. See? Just like that. It's the magic words are the fun part, so I don't know that I'd want to learn to cast magic that way, but I guess if I was having bubbles coming out of my mouth too much, you'd have to.
Yeah. It's really easy.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just wanted to say that I appreciated how brave you were.
Thank you.
Norlai, you can give me... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish up.
My regular spot in the line.
Okay. Doop, 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 doop. Ooh. Norlai, give me either an investigation or an insight. Your choice. At advantage. Oh.
Hey, good for the advantage.
Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to take that 3? I don't know. 21. 2 and 1 add up to 3.
You're 21.
All right.
Very opposite ends of the spectrum there.
So you have this conversation with Bright, much like the gummy bears, you're marching along as your song fills the air. And it's a bright spring day. There's colors and flowers and sky and clouds. Everything is around you here. And Bright's trying to be chipper and is talking about things. And, with the possibility that there could have been Fae out here. Obviously, you had a bit of a run-in with them, if I recall correctly. Hopefully I do, because, I mean, we kind of colluded as DM and, player about your character. You were kind of in jail, in a Fae jail there, so something happened. Although I suppose extreme DMing, like, you would just open up with that and I wouldn't have any idea. So there we go. There's a fun challenge for anyone out there who's brave enough to try it. With all of the conversations about wild magic and in fact, because you've said it yourself, or if not to others, to yourself, you are an embodiment of wild magic. You're in this wild magic zone. You've been abducted by the Fae. And really, there's been some interesting encounters or interactions with them that you've had, or at least that you've observed, in terms of, what's happened, what's gone on. You're experimenting on this crystal, and the Fae are the ones who, who put this crystal to you. And I mean, given the fact what it's done to others, but it hasn't done this to you. There's a lot of thoughts that are floating through your mind right now. Not just thoughts, but also feelings, as we're basing this off of an insight of 21 here. Questioning, this is also springboarding off of Celine, Jade's observation of Celine, or what Celine was talking about, and whether or not you could overhear Bright and Mordecai, just the mood is a bit introspective. You hope you know who you are and what you're after, and what's happening, but there's just been so many other things, like they just keep coming up. But how are they connected? Because they seem to be, right? It keeps happening. These topics keep being brought up, but where's it going? What does it mean? And so this is gonna put you in a bit of a jumble. I mean, your tail's probably gonna shift positions. I'm not going to tell you what to feel, other than there's, as an artist, as DM to player, Dark Wolf as an artist here, there are things that you can draw with negative space. So you don't actually make the thing, but you fill in everything around it, and therefore you play Who's That Pokemon in the show. And right now, there's this overarching empty, like a dead space, or an empty space, that all of this other stuff is floating around, and it's there. It's right there. Now, whether or not you choose to discuss that with others, or explore it yourself, or throw it out to someone else who might be able to help put pieces together, that's going to be completely up to you. But as a public but me to you topic, for Norlai in this moment, given all of everything that's happened, with your all's discussion, the coincidences of magic and all of this, there's, you're a searching person. Like, Norlai is that process of discovery. Presumably she wants to reach this goal of meeting her brother. She has this strong desire to do so, or at least she says that she does. And so with your own, the way you've been playing the character and all this, there's just a big negative space. I think that's the more proper term. I don't know if dead space or whatever. I mean, fun video game, but I don't know if that's the proper artistic term. But that is, I'm putting that right on your head like a crown, and you can use it, role play with it. You can throw it to the side of the road, or you can take it off and look at it and say it's pretty and sparkly, or ouch, ouch, it hurts. Who makes crowns like this? I'll leave that up to you, but I'm placing this yoke on you.
Now you really do have egg on your face.
But the good news, right? So a door shuts, Noralai. But I will say Mordecluck is in higher spirits now and is kind of looking around and just sort of, burbling and clucking in a pleasant fashion. And there we go. Are you going to internalize this on the journey, or do you wish to? You can. I'm not forcing this. Do you want to continue silently?
I'll it over to myself.
Okay. Okay. So Noralai is now willfully, kind of thoughtful to herself and not, producing glitter out of her mouth in the process. Continuing on, you are drawing up closer to the mountains, and as I said, there are a lot of little streams and such. Mordecai, there's nothing that's really... I mean, there's things that are, maybe for safety. If you want to experiment, you certainly can. Like, how much water is running water actually? What does it count? If you want to run those experiments, let me know, and we could work that into the process. Otherwise, towards the base of the mountain, there's little rivulets. There's like kind of some streams, and you're walking and proceeding along, and a couple of them will form into a couple little cricks will turn into a creek. A couple creeks will turn into a stream, and a couple streams will turn into, of a small river of sorts that is traveling at the base of the mountain. But the road that you're taking is further out away from the mountain. So you're following along a trail that is following these little rivulets and little ponds and whatnot, but you're staying outside of it. So far, there's nothing that you've necessarily had to cross on the way. So it'd really be you making a willful... you're going to force yourself to experiment if you'd like to do so. Otherwise, this is the geography I'm describing to you, so that you can now start loading into your imaginations. This melt water from the snow caps, kind of warming in the springtime, running down the rocks. You get nice little watery burble effects, and a little bit of mist here and there. Very beautiful Bob Ross painting, and a wandering trail as the trees get thicker and thicker. Occasionally there's just a really big tree that, just needs a friend. And sure enough, right there's a friend, to the tree, which is another tree.
No, he stays as far away from the water as possible.
Okay.
Tail kind of just twitching nervously. Kind of fiddling with jewelry too.
And very good. I won't force you. I won't force you to describe at all times. Like if you're going to be like, if you have a necklace and you're kind of like twiddling it, or you have to describe your tail. But I will encourage you. Your tail is a part of your character in a way that you express yourself as well. So you are free to, to pursue that, or if Bright can make like little puffs of air, and so if she like gets into the habit of, if she's shocked, she prestidigitates her floofs to like go boo, like up and out or something. That could be a part of the process as well. Is describing your body language, and not just your your internal monologue or the dialogue that you want to present. All right, so you're walking through now. It is definitely that the sun. It's not blotted out. It's not super dark. I mean, at worst, there's patches of maybe dim light if we're talking mechanics. As you're walking through the trees, and the sun is it's beyond its zenith, so it's on its downward slope here in the spring, and of course every day is getting a little longer. Whether it's good or bad for Mordecai, you're facing longer and longer days. And
sunlight's not super painful just yet, so that's a plus.
It's not summer yet.
Not yet.
When it is, good luck.
Yeah, little do you know that, Mesamaska gets, like, a really nice Australian summer.
It's 42 degrees and the tarmac boils.
As you're walking along, you see going down the lazy river is a man standing on a large tree trunk with a pole, and he seems to be kind of lazily just taking the river by the side of the trail, just almost using this pole as a walking stick. You're not by a raging river. This is all very lazy. The water's not stagnant, but it is moving as it's added to, and it bleeds off, and it'll cascade and do little things here and there. But ahead of you on the trail, there is a man on a log who seems to be using it as an odd kind of barge. And this man must have some very good balance, as this isn't a riverboat. Like, this is a round log that he is balanced upon, and using this like barge pole to just drift down the nameless stream, or whatever you want to call it.
Is the stream kind of going perpendicular to our direction then?
Yes.
Are we crossing it, or is it okay?
No, you're not crossing it. It is going in the direction you are traveling.
It's the parallel.
Okay.
Parallel.
We're going parallel to the stream.
So what does he look like, a human or a tiefling?
From this distance and such, he appears to be a humanoid, average height. You're not seeing a tail or horns, so elf, human, not a dwarf, not a gnome, not a halfling, not a tiefling.
Could you go take a closer look at him, and I'll watch through her.
Okay. So Peggy Sue flies ahead, and there is an older man, middle age, maybe even kind of getting on in middle age, who is rather burly. I mean, so old man strength. Appears to be human, and he seems to be quite a rough character. So strong build. He's probably staying a little bit warm because he does have body hair, like a nice solid beard, strong jaw, a bit of a furrowed brow, but he doesn't look mean. He's just looking ahead, he looks up at Peggy Sue. Well, you ain't from around here. Oh. Come here, you. I ain't seen a creature like you in these woods. I want to get a closer look. Come on now. Come on. And he's still like holding onto the barge pole and kind of like just going along, but he's making a gesture up to the creature. He smiles wide, and just he gets like several wrinkles up his cheeks. I won't bite or hurt you. I've been in these woods for quite some time. I want to take a look.
We'll go just a little closer, but not within arm's reach.
Okay. Well, aren't you a strange thing? Do you belong to someone? Does she? Okay. I'll take that fervent shaking as a yes. Is that someone around here? Should I be worried about these people?
The most honest answer of the entire campaign.
That's I can take it or leave it,
You place your bet, you take your chance.
That's in fact, I like that. He'll probably say, that's an honest answer you have. Well, if these people would like to continue, then I can promise some good conversation, and perhaps when we get to the logging camp, there might be a really hearty lunch served by, well, I imagine my sons would be finishing up some of their work and making lunch. It'll be a late one, but I'd hate for a bunch of, good hearty food to go to waste. Oh, well, we'll see, right? And he goes back to whistling a tune and just, he's standing on this log like a pro. Like, he still has to shimmy a little bit as things, it's not like a tensor's disc where it's like perfectly level the whole way. So he is putting in this effort, but he just kind of says, well, be off with you and have a good day, whatever you are. And old man just going down this slow river, pulling along.
So, I think he's pretty safe. He rolls really well, and he's
safe. He's around us.
So, it seems like from what Peggy Sue seems to have found, that he's pretty friendly and he has food, which, I mean, maybe Celine and Jade could eat it, or Norelai. It's probably not the right food for me, and it's probably not the right food for Mordecai. But he has a lot of it, and he seemed pretty friendly, although you can never be sure, but it seemed friendly. So I think we should go say hello to him.
What do you look like?
He was just old and pretty strong.
Human, if I didn't say, by the way.
Yeah, human, for sure.
Ooh.
Pretty strong.
Wait, that's Tony right there.
Yeah, like he's a hard worker. Like he said he was going to a logging camp, so he probably is a lumberjack or something like that.
Well, since this is probably the last time I'll ever be able to ask this question, given the way the session's going, does this sound familiar to Jade at all? Is there any one particular person that's just striking her brain like lightning right now?
No. No, I mean, this is not an implausible situation, but this particular description or character isn't necessarily ringing a bell.
All right. Well, I suppose then we should be off. I would hate to refuse an invitation and appear rude.
Although he doesn't know who we are, so we can't actually appear rude to him. But he did offer us food, so there's that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll hurry along. I'll bounce along a little faster until I can get closer to where he is.
Okay. Bright drinks her gummy berry juice and bounces. Oh.
He must be behind us then, or is he ahead of us?
No, he's ahead.
So we're actually going faster than he is, even though he's in the water.
Yeah, he's taking his time. This is a lazy river, and he's not in any mood. He's not like
Okay,
power,
well then, hurrying up ahead then.
Okay, yeah. Even on your little legs, you can scamper and catch up to him. Just takes a couple minutes, and you jog up. You're bouncing. You're being your floofs are just going everywhere. Is anyone catching up with Bright, or do you want Bright to make first contact?
I'll follow closely behind.
I'll also follow closely behind.
I don't think
I
anyone
will
really
allow
wants
them
Bright to make
make-
first contact, but
I'll allow them to make first contact.
it's kind of a roll of the dice. Sometimes literally.
Okay, so all of you want to bounce up?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna stay with Grayson and the other.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay behind Bright and make sure that nothing bad goes on.
Okay.
I'm walking up with Bright, actually.
Okay.
Well, I will stay behind them and make sure nothing bad happens. They can
Okay.
deal with the imposing half-elven lady.
All right, so then our blue and pink Mortar-Bright pair are the ones that are coming out to make contact with Celine, supervising the situation. Norelai is sticking back with the Maminals, and Jade is doing what?
I imagine she is currently driving the cart.
There's not a cart, but you can.
Right. Sorry, I blanked for a second.
It's fine.
No. Jade is very cautious to approach people.
Okay.
She might even be so far as to be behind Norlai.
Okay. All right.
Just don't stand close behind Bison.
He can try.
He's well behaved.
I mean, look, in this campaign, it's established I've already had you step in horse poop, and so, you know, to think that you can dodge a donkey road apple in this campaign, you are fooling yourself. All right, so we have our oh shoot, why am I dropping his name? Shame on me. Ephraim Cochran is making first contact here with the Vulcans on Earth. You know, just as we've
A good gnomish name, Zephram.
Zephyr, yeah, that's right, it was Zephram. And hopefully this isn't the alternate universe where the Vulcans come down and do this and he pulls out the shotgun, and because that was interesting to watch. All right, so the three of you kind of bounce up. You know, just, you're not acting suspicious. You're just walking through the woods along a stream. You know, Mordecai more on the outside of the road than the inside. And without looking back, he simply says, "Oh, is that my little friend? Or is that my little friend's friends?"
I can be your little friend if you want.
Well, you'll have to run a little bit more quickly to get ahead. I can't turn around too well.
Okay. No, hi. You probably met Peggy Sue. She's my cricket.
That's a cricket.
She's kind of an unusual
You're
cricket.
polymorph to a unicorn.
We're kind of an unusual group. My name's Triddle, but you can call me Bright. And this is Mordecai. And Celine, you can see her just behind us. And then there's two more of us, but they didn't come with. They'll be
Triddle,
here.
you say?
Didn't hear you. You cut out.
Triddle, you say?
It's my given name, but most people call me Bright.
He glances over. Yeah, you're a gnome, all right. Yeah, I've spent some time with your folk, learned a thing or two.
That's so wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to meet someone who knows about gnomes. Nobody in Mesomaska knows anything about gnomes. I'm so Where did you go to Uct, or did you go to one of the other places where there's lots of gnomes?
Oh no, I spent a few years down in Uct. I was studying different trees. I believe it was your forest kin. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I can't tell the two of you apart too well, but I know that they really enjoy, you know, nature in the woods, and they were able to teach me a thing or two about the trees.
Well, forest gnomes, that's what I am, and it's true. A lot of people can't tell the difference between forest and rock gnomes because we do look alike. But usually the cotton candy hair is only forest gnomes.
That makes sense.
Kind of rare even among forest gnomes. It's kind of like red hair for humans.
You all do look very delicious, and I say that as a compliment. Now,
I'll take that as a compliment.
I have to ask you. While we're walking and talking, and if any of you want to interject with the conversation, you're welcome to do so. He holds out the barge pole to, like, he's not swinging it, but he's like, now hold on, I gotta ask you something. Now, mind you, he's still moving down the river, so he's holding the barge pole out, like maybe instinctively, just like hesitate, but he's still moving with the slow stream. There's been some unusual things happening in these woods lately, and I don't suppose. I'm not making a presumption, because you know what, I'm not that type of man, and I've spent time with your folk. But you aren't in league with the Fae, are you?
We're kind of free agents. We're definitely not in league with anyone, but we've had dealings with the Fae, and some of our people, including Celine, and also Norlai, who's not here right now, but she'll be here in a minute, have made deals with them.
Been assaulted by them, more like.
We're definitely
been
not
assaulted.
in
I made no deal.
It is like, we made no deals. We've been assaulted several times by the Fae.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they seem to have been getting, well, I'd say antsy, but they've been appearing. Now, I'm talking like the stories, the old tales. the things I told my sons when they were growing up. You know, the mean stories, not these, you know, wonderful, like, you know,
Not cute little pixies.
not these cutesy parody ones that, you know, the bards talk about. No, we're talking the savage ones that'll eat your cat and laugh about it, kind of a thing.
Well, I haven't seen them eat any cats. And yeah, I mean, it's true that gnomes are more closely related to the Fae than we are to other creatures sometimes. But, I mean, we're definitely native to this plane, and the Fae are not. So, I mean, we have an ancestry, but it's just like you have probably ancestors who went on to be our empire or other countries that you're probably not happiest with. It's kind of like that for me and the Fae. So we're definitely not in league just because I have.
Lady, I understand more than you probably know, and you'll find out soon enough. As long as you aren't going to raise a, I don't know, whatever you do, a sling or a finger or something. I don't know what your talents are, but as long as you're not going to raise an attack against me, if I swing this barge pole at the first sprite I see flitting around the woods, then I think we can continue traveling together, and you're a welcome guest at my table.
Okay, well, we haven't seen any sprites in a long time. We saw some pixies, but that was a long time ago, and they weren't very nice to us. So
That was back in Browbeat.
we would be happy to travel with you and have dinner with you. And also, sometimes I do raise a finger, but usually it's not an attack. See? And then fireworks.
All right, well, I ain't scared around magic. I've seen plenty in my day. Just, I'd ask you point your finger accurately, if it comes down to it.
Yeah, I'm actually a little more accurate than the average gnome. Sometimes I see things just before they happen, and it tells me exactly how to aim my finger. So you don't have to worry about wild shots from me.
He looks over to Mordecai and Celine. Does she talk like this all the time? As in non-stop?
Yes.
Yes.
I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm not really sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
A vicious cycle of...
Sorry, not sorry. Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Not sorry. Sorry. Not sorry.
Someone give her percussive maintenance to kind of, you know, get her out of that. The record skipping.
I'm stealing that line. Percussive maintenance.
Now, what about you there, lady? Kind of hanging out in the back there. What's your story? Can I trust you?
It's just like, I am a simple lady of the cloth. Of course you can trust me.
The cloth. We'll see about that.
I mean, do you want me to roll a persuasion?
No. No, I see where your affiliation lies. I don't have a problem with it. I understand your order. You're out there looking for, you know, what's out there. That's a little bit beyond my ken, and I wish I could tell you, you know, there's something that glows that we don't understand. But that's not the case out this way. I've been in these woods and others, and I've seen glowing stuff. You should go to Uct. But, I don't have any prejudice against you, lady. Or I should say, cloth, ma'am. Or what should I call you? What's your name?
Celine is fine.
Celine is fine. Oh, well, I can tell that you're, you have some elven heritage in you. Your parents from, Aslan, by chance?
Yes.
Well then.
Or at least one of them was.
Well, hopefully there's no hard feelings between you and, our gnome here. I understand things can be a little tense.
Not at all. She and I can... The Celine is fine. Bright and I don't always see eye to eye on every topic, but she
Much
is
taller.
she is a well, yes. She and I are both scholars alike, so we get along just fine.
Well, I see.
I have a lot of respect for Celine, and I hope it goes the other way too.
It does.
Well then, now are you two looking at this other feller here? Are you escorting him, or what's the deal here?
He's one of our friends.
No, my name is Mordecai.
Mordecai. Well, here, I can't reach you from the stream, so he's gonna hold out the barge pole. Shake the barge pole, will ya?
I'm going to do so.
Ah, good man. You okay? I've seen plenty of tieflings. Are you a little exhausted? You've been on the road a while?
For a while, a couple of weeks, off and on. I've spent most of my life actually traveling this island.
Well, I can see you have quite a collection you're wearing on your clothes there. Yeah, a little bit of everything from everywhere, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you know what? I ain't one to judge. I don't mind your folk. I mean, you know, the humans and tieflings here in Mezamaska, we've gotten along for quite some time. And, well, I'd be quite a hypocrite if I said that I, you know, had any suspicion about, you know, a gentleman such as yourself traveling with other folks or just looking the way that you do. You wanna, if you want, I can pull the log over. You just want to hop on the log and go down the stream with me? The others look hale and hearty enough.
I don't know. How well is your balance?
My balance is fine. I guess I'd be worried about yours. You worried about getting a little wet?
A little bit. I'm not exactly a fan of water.
Oh.
True. He smells really bad. We keep trying to tell him we should bathe
Right.
This character is gonna laugh in character too. So all right, with a hearty chuckle. Well, you know what? Most predators dress in bright colors to warn people away from them, so it seems to fit the case here.
Mordecai is what is the medical term for it?
Phobia.
Yes, he suffers from hydrophobia.
And by hydrophobia, she doesn't mean rabies. She means actually.
Yeah, his eyes just got really wide here as you say hydrophobia. Like,
yes,
you live in the woods, you've seen rabies, and so like Mordecai, he just looks over to you like through his kind of bushy eyebrows and just like, you like even his beard kind of like just like flusters a little bit, you know, when it's.
No, hydrophobia, not rabies.
No, all right, well, I mean, I imagine none of you are, you know, none of you are diseased, right?
I mean,
No.
it's kind of like rabies.
Well, I mean, it's crippling as rabies, hydrophobia, but it's not rabies.
Wow, just spilling me open like an open book. Okay, yeah, we're going there.
Now, there's some others that are with you. Am I right? I think I can see them down the path a little bit. They're very wisely and cautiously hanging back, because, I mean, for all you know, I'm a serial killer, and I know these woods really well, and, well, I know where to put you where no one will find you.
Well, we could safely say that we'd be able to properly defend ourselves if that were the case.
Good, I'd hope so.
Yeah, that's Jade and Norlai. They're our traveling companions, and they're just a little more skittish. Norlai likes to take care of animals, and Jade, she's kind of a seeker, kind of like me.
What does she seek?
Be like you.
What are you looking for?
Knowledge
Yeah,
and understanding of the universe and everything around it.
Yeah, but not like a scientist. It's more like she doesn't quite know who she needs to be.
She's looking for herself.
Well, I'll have you know, this is an old adage I heard somewhere, but not all who wander are lost. And, you know what? I'd love to meet this seeker, this wanderer, and see for myself. And as for this Norlai character, sounds like a tiefling name. Is she a tiefling?
She is, yes.
Oh, any relation to you, Mordecai?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Well,
She's related to another tiefling named Lokiadius, if you happen to have ever heard of him. to a good roll.
some of the names kind of bleed together. I mean, you have a Mordecai and a Norlai right here. You know, admittedly, I've been around my fair share of tieflings, but I'm not. I don't speak the language too well. Enough to get by, and I can, you know, I know all the cuss words and private parts.
So do most people.
So you, Jade and Norlai, like, you just hear this hearty, gruff chuckle, like, just, like, it's not even just, like, coming from the mouth or the throat, like, his whole, like, barrel chest is just, like, reverberating in a good laugh, as he's indulging a little bit of, crude humor here. Well, do you want me to hold up for them? They're dragging their feet. The camp's not that far away. I could slow down if you want to travel. I could speed up if you don't.
I think we would love to spend time with you in the camp. They just move a little slower. You know, Norlai has a lot of animals to take care of. She has a mule, and the mule kind of moves at his own pace, and she's got so many other animals and also a plant, just a whole bunch of everything to kind of carry around.
Why does she carry a plant? Actually, you know what? Hold up. I'm going to ask her when she comes along. And he digs his barge pole down and kind of along the riverbank as he puts the brakes on his log.
She just really likes
hang
to
on
take
one
care of
second.
creatures.
My headset just kerfloofied on me here.
Glad to see you're learning the gnomish words.
Okay, there we go. I was speaking gnomish for a second. All right. All right. So yeah. So he's he's putting on the brakes on his log here. You know, it wouldn't be nice if I introduced myself to the three of you and then had to do it again to the others. I'm willing to do so, but let's let him catch up.
Of course.
Jade and Norlight, you see the man kind of puts the emergency brake on his log as he's sort of like, he's going parallel with the river and now he's perpendicular to it and kind of like, boo, it rubs up on the, you know, on the kind of the grassy edge of the riverbank. And he like big, like over-exaggerated waves to you both. Come on! I don't bite! No, there's other things out there that do that.
Do you think he's aware on how close he is to standing to one of those things that bite?
I dropped some hints, but no, I don't
Well,
think he's
Hubbard
figured
only
it out yet.
bites
Oh,
I'm
to
pretty
Norlai?
sure that it was me and Norlai,
Yeah.
or like further back.
Well, Herbert only bites if he's like a fae or a vampire or something. So if Herbert bites him, then he's bad.
Perhaps I should throw Herbert onto him.
Oh no, I'll do it.
Oh no, I'll do it. Norlai gets that little sparkle in her eye and
She's not gonna check him. She's gonna.
I don't promote violence. I just encourage it.
Okay.
Jade allows Norlai to go first.
Sure. All right, so you two approach. He welcomes both of you. You know, looks over to you, Norlai. Aha, you're the Norlai that I was told about. Well, aren't you a busy woman?
Yep. And all of these animals take care of.
He looks up at Yori that's kind of been, you know, kind of hovering around. Interesting. You, I've been told you had run-ins with the Fae. Yeah?
Yeah, they kind of kidnapped me when I was I was in the wild magic, or, you know, the flower fields. And then I was in this cave for a while, and I'm not sure how long, because it was dark, and I felt
You were
and then
kidnapped?
this.
No.
Yeah.
And he, like,
Check this
grumbles
out.
and clenches, like, and you just see, like, the veins in his old man strength forearm. Like, and really, because he doesn't have a shirt on, like, you just see, like, he tenses up and just sort of, like, flushes, like, a red, like, even through his ruddy skin, because this man looks weathered. He looks like he's been out in the sun for a good portion of his life. Kidnapping. girls like you. Oh, is there nothing that these foul creatures won't do? And I thought the stories were bad. Did these folks rescue you?
Yeah, kind of. They kind of showed up, and then I kind of got out of the cell myself because they were distracted by the monster.
They kind of showed up?
They kind of showed up. They were like with this, what was it, a troll? And then the troll was distracted by them, so I escaped. And then I had to come back because they were shouting, and then the troll was dead. But yeah.
He gets in
No,
close
I
and is
know.
squinting you up and down. No, that explains that you're a youngin'. I imagine that they actually... like, he's going into dad mode. He's like, they didn't kind of show up. They did.
Yeah.
He's offering friendly common language correction here. Are you running a test on him, or what are you doing? I'm gonna say that when he stops you, you're 30 feet away. What do you do?
No, I think she'd get caught up in conversation.
Okay, all right. So you're like, I got this plan. I'm gonna throw it at him, and then suddenly you're like, oh, oh, well, you're kind of like that pink one there. That's fine though. I totally understand. Although, hold on a minute. I gotta talk to this other one. Who are you?
I don't know. Who do you want me to be?
Oh well.
That's Jade. She is, as I said, she is a seeker of herself. But whilst you say that not all who wander are lost, she is most definitely lost.
I don't know. She don't look too bad. Looks a little scraggly. Probably hasn't eaten a decent meal in a while.
I've eaten plenty. Unfortunately, they tend to, well, wither. And the facet of this is that, while you think of this as a hello, I might be thinking of it as a goodbye.
Well, looks like you've seen some things. And however, I can't even really tell how old you are. It looks like you've seen some things and you're a bit of a ragamuffin. You need a change of clothes?
She kind of looks him over, and I am using Eldritch Sight while I do this. She looks to him and grabs hold of a corner of her, just one of her shoulders, and it's like the leather just tears like paper as she ends up, and we'll use.
Gotcha.
When she does so, the dress appears to be a noblewoman's at that point. Would this be preferred? Or perhaps this? And she does it again, and in this point, it's more of a lumberjack's daughter perspective. And
Okay.
she just kind of looks to him with this bit of curiosity. Again, who do you need me to be?
All I need you to be, if you're spending time with me, is honest. And I'll tell you, you could look like however you want. I'm too old for any shenanigans. I will say, though, that I do have 2 sons back at the camp, but I'll tell you, I raised them right and be polite. So, you don't have to worry about them, ma'am. You can come dressed in as a foppish noble. No insult, implied there, Mr. Mordecai. You could look as foppish as you wish. You could look like a lumberjack's, you could look like a grizzled old lumberjack daughter or wife, and they should still treat you with respect. The only thing is, if you're coming to my camp, you're coming to my house, all I ask is that you're honest. And you know what, I'll tell you, I've been bitten by things, I've been scratched by things, I've had my fair share of poison and starvation and exposure to the elements. And, I can take an insult and I can give it. I can take a punch and I can give it. But I don't take guff, and I don't give guff.
Fair enough.
Then, in the spirit of honesty, I will be frank then. I can't promise what's going to come out of my mouth after she kind of looks up at the sun. Well, this time tomorrow.
Well, I suppose we'll find out when that happens. Who knows? We always hope the sun will come up. Not everyone gets to see that realization, especially these are strange times. And it sounds like from the story that Miss Norlai over here was talking about, let alone the others, seems like you've had your fair share of strange things.
That
Yes.
doesn't begin to describe the half of it.
Well, I made an offer. I got lunch back at the camp. I'll travel at your pace. We can walk and we can talk.
Very well then. Let us begin. Mr.
Yes, well, I made you a promise. You introduced yourselves to me. I'm going to introduce myself to you. I'm Bambardelus Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Indeed.
Pleasure to meet you.
And it's a pleasure to meet you. In this moment, from what you've told me, if you haven't lied, I think we're going to get along really well. But if you did, well, I'm going to be kind of sore at you. All right, now let's get it going. Time's a-wasting. I'd say we only have a few minutes left to walk and talk, wouldn't you? Fortunately, due to meta versus in-game time dilation, we can summarize a lazy travel alongside an old man on a log over the course of a minute or so. Now, if there's any side conversation you want to have, I mean, he'll be chatty. He's not being unfriendly. He seems to have a lot of local knowledge and lore. Could probably identify different plants and animals and such for you, because.
Which is a thing that's going to happen because we're actually looking for a plant for Symphonics currently. I believe it's the Star of Solaris that we're looking for.
I know it. I've seen it. I can't tell you where it is. I can tell you where you could look. But, that's a bit of a rare flower, and where they grow isn't exactly the safest spot in the woods.
That's okay. We've heard that there's like a special tree that they grow on, so it's probably easier than looking for. Because we've done that before, like gone out into a field and looked for a specific flower, and it turned out to be harder than you'd expect. So maybe finding just the tree that it grows on would be easier. And if it's dangerous in that part of the forest, we'll be careful.
We're pretty well prepared, I think.
Oh, hopefully so. Otherwise, you're going to find yourselves probably wrapped up in web and, having about, 24 larvae injected into you to eat their way out.
Oof.
Hey,
Yikes.
that sounds pretty typical for us.
Well, in Ukt, yeah, for sure. But the others here might not be able to appreciate that part of the cycle of life.
I'm not a fan of spiders.
I think if anyone can appreciate death and rebirth, it would be me.
Yeah, you're a weird one.
Thank you, Mordecai. I try.
So some time passes and you come up to a you pull up to a logging camp. There is the stump of a very large tree. So this would be more of a common thing in Ukt, but in this sort of a forest, not so much. But it looks like it's been cut down, but a house has been built into it to still kind of, I guess, honor the tree, or at least be used and not just left to rot. Now, as you are walking down, in fact, I can show you, so I'm not just describing it here. This is the trail, and the purple things are normal trees, not purple trees. This is the big stump that is in, it seems to be growing out of a mound that's in the middle of the river. And there are 3 little bridges that connect to it. You can also see that there are some felled logs that are as long as indicated on the map and as wide as the diameter is indicating as well, that are on the map here too. and you have a bunch of trees that are still standing, you know, that are circling around here. So Bambardalus is going to be taking the log through the stream, and so the trail and whatnot is going to part a little ways before you get here. He tells you keep following the road. This will presumably give you maybe like 10-15 minutes of walking and talking time where he's not in ear range. So you are welcome to, I mean, if you have any private stuff you want to talk about as a group, you're going to be able to do so. If you want to take that to side RP or do a quick summary in next week, you can do so. Ahead, you do see some smoke drifting out of the stump, and it does smell very delicious. You are all kinds of smells are filling the air here, and I guess in summary, is anyone not approaching the log house?
I'm approaching pensively.
Okay.
To approach. I do want to cast mage armor before we do anything else, and I also want to know what time of day it is.
Okay. This is gonna be a late lunch then. Like we're probably talking 4 or 5 p.m. So I guess maybe even like an evening, like an early dinner or something along those lines. Or I forget the difference between supper and dinner if there is one. But anyway, it's late lunch, early dinner. What's that?
Supper is after dinner.
Okay, so then it's a dinner.
Supper's wrong and dinner's right.
Funnily enough, I had an interesting conversation about this like 3 days ago.
This is why the halflings and gnomes argue and war with each other.
Halflings have supper and dinner, and
Yeah.
lunch and breakfast, and also snacks and tea time.
And elevensies. And brunch.
First breakfast, second breakfast, 11sies, lunch, afternoon tea,
dinner, then
supper.
So you all are approaching, and while there's some smoke and some delicious smells, including for you, like Bright, you know, you're sniffing, and yes, there is cooked meat, but you're also smelling like honey roasted tree nuts.
Oh.
Maybe he knows some gnomish recipes. I mean, if he spent time with forest gnomes, which is really unusual because just not everybody can just go walk into a forest gnome village. I mean, usually if the gnomes don't want you to find the village, you don't usually find the village. So probably somebody invited him, or else I mean, for him to know things about gnomish culture and maybe know some gnomish recipes. Like, is this a recipe that I would recognize as gnomish?
You're not there yet. You're just smelling, like you're getting the smell of honey roasted tree nuts. That's also wafting out on the smoke and kind of, it's not filling the glen, but you can smell this this stuff. There's also some barbecue and such. So as you all come down, you do see, it's not on the map here, but this log is, it's probably, we'll say it was this one. It was sort of like pulled up on the side. You brought out of the stream bank and kind of rolled against these others. And so you don't see the old man. You don't see Bambardalus. He might be inside. However, outside, in fact, they're probably the ones who drug the log up onto the shore here. You see 2 tieflings, ? And they are also in a state of swall, as they are hefting, like they're rolling and hefting this log together on each end. And one looks up, and kind of the dim light getting darker. I mean, for you with dark vision, that's not necessarily going to be a problem. And they come over. Oh, it must be them. And they almost say it in tandem. And they stand together as you all are approaching on the road here. And they're standing here. And they wave. And as they're standing and waving, so you see these 2 tieflings? Or half tieflings? Something. As they are about the same height and look. And one of them on their right side has like a rust red color and a horn. The other one on his left side has rust red skin and a horn. And they both start walking up to get a little closer. Casual pace. They don't have any, well, I mean, they have like a hatchet on them, but that seems to be a tool of the trade. And they'll stop around here. Dad told you that you were coming. Why don't you come on, come a little closer. We won't bite. and you see in their inner halves as they're standing together like this, is that same kind of bronzed color skin that the old man had. And you're definitely getting some of the facial features, like the strong jaw exists as well. And
I actually have a question. Is this unusual for half tieflings?
I was
yes.
going to ask that to Mordecai. I was going to say, so what I've heard is that like humans and tieflings can have children together, but the children are always either humans or tieflings. You don't get like this weird half and half thing, especially not one side and the other. That seems really strange. Is that something you've ever? Yeah.
I'm half tiefling myself. This is not usual for me.
This is a rarity. I mean, it's not that it can't happen, but no one's seen something like that, or at least it's been reported or whatever.
This is theoretically possible.
Yes, there we go. I think that's a better explanation. This is theoretically possible.
I've never heard of anything like this.
Ask them about it.
And
I don't know how much time we have left, so I don't know whether I can ask.
We'll kind of pick up here. I'll end the session here. Lethality, I won't keep you too long. I know you got to get going. They're gonna walk up, and so each of them are wearing just some common breeches. Looks like there's a couple scrapes. They've certainly been working in these before. Don't have a shirt, and that's fine because they'd probably rip out of it anyway. As they approach, they each have a complimentary horn coming out the side of their head. They do have tails, and the tails are kind of an odd mixture, like a patchwork color of their human skin and their tiefling skin. And they're also each wearing an interesting hat, kind of worn at an angle. And at the look of it, it might be covering a small horn coming out of the other side, as it's almost like a beret, but it's more like a long ways bicorn. And where the inner, like the long horn should be on a tiefling, instead they have a great big feather coming out the side. And then as they walk up, you can see that on the other side they have a bow tie. Interesting. And in the back, it looks like there's like two little ribbons that come down. So they walk up. Dad told you that you were coming and that we should introduce you, or we should introduce ourselves to you. And the other one, they're kind of filling in each other's words, so I'm not going to like do two different voices here. But you can imagine them switching back and forth. I'm Glenn. The other one says, I'm Gary. And it's a pleasure to meet you and welcome to our house.
Pleasure, Glenn, Gary.
Very happy to meet you.
Thank you. Like they take their hats off and kind of like wipe their brows with it. And you can see that their hair is also it's kept short, but it also has that kind of effect.
Are they kind of moving in tandem?
Not creepily so.
Okay.
They're not like Red Rum twins or anything like that. But no, like they seem to be independent enough, but and they're not always completing each other's sentences, but you're getting the idea that these two are most likely twin brothers, and something happened along the way that produced as such. So they each take their unique hats off and give you a flourished bow, puts it back on, make sure that the crooked part is covering the short horn, kind of make sure that their feathers up, and they turn towards you, straighten their bow ties, and welcome you to the house. And it's here that we will leave off for this week. And then if you have questions for for that 15 minutes of not being around the old man, or if you want to drag your feet and have it be longer, that's fine. But we can play a little catch up, a little question. You can role play, or you want to do it inside role play, you can do that. And we'll pick up here with the invitation to go to the house in the middle of the stream next week.
Yep. I think
Okay.
that's
Yeah, sorry for holding you over, Lethality, but thank you for hanging around. And if you're going to raid, then I'll look for your notification.
Yep.
Or we'll raid you when we see the notification.
Yep,
I know. I
I'll,
definitely. Oh, sorry.
That's right. You can go.
So, but you're done. I just gonna say I definitely owe Derek some side RP, so I'm definitely trying to work that in this week.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for your time and your entertainment. It was a lot of fun. Volvo's applauding you all.
Yes. Thank you, Volvo.
Yes, thank you, Volvo.
And
It looks like someone might be making an appearance next week.
Yep. Yeah. Jade. The sun's setting, big guy. The sun's going down.